Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Planet X News, April 5th, 2019. And ladies and gentlemen, today, and once again, I'm going to prove to each and every one of you that the tools that we use to detect this Planet X object orbiting our sun, the tools that we use, the only tools that we have, are provided by the powers that be from the boys in blue at NASA. And as I've stated several times, even in my last couple of live streams, and one just recently, we are literally showing them how we are making these detections, how we are capturing this object in photographs, stills, and video. One of the tools that I've used for a long time, it's called SEEDS, Solar Eruptive Event Detection System. And this is part of the LASCO C2 coronagraph. This spacecraft looks directly at the sun. And actually, if you look right up here on your screen in their header logo up here, you can see the sun here. You can see stereo behind, stereo ahead, A and B. And you can see the SOHO spacecraft, which is right here, looking directly at the sun. It's approximately 1 million miles away from the Earth, out ahead of the Earth, between the Earth and the sun. And they've taken stereo B out of commission. Okay, no more public access to it. They made up some story years ago that it went into a spin and it never corrected itself and they lost communication. Now, I just showed all of you the outstanding footage from stereo B that I detected back in 2007 showing Planet X orbiting the sun, going around the backside of the sun in approximately 8 days and shooting back out in its orbit. Well, shortly after that, you know, they made up the whole story. That is what I feel in my heart that they did. And we no longer have access to that stereo behind spacecraft. What we're getting from stereo ahead is not very much anymore. Back in January, I believe January 24th, 2018, they changed the public access to the LASCO and SOHO coronagraphs, C2 and C3. Now, we can still access the information, but not like we used to a year ago. So, once again, it seems that as we're making these detections and publicizing the information, I guess, once again, we're getting a little too close. We're showing a little too much information. And if you look down here, and the reason why I brought you over here to the SEEDS website is because I check this daily. Every single day, I come here and I review all of the data, all of it. I'm usually on this website for at least an hour to an hour and a half every single day, checking everything. And if you look down here, these are all links, and these links are for those days, those dates. Now, we made a detection on the 25th of March. I showed all of you that screenshot, and I'll show it to you again because now something very odd has happened, and I've never seen this happen before on the SEEDS website. Let me take a little sip of my coffee here. So this time they've done something to the footage on the 25th, and they've placed a little blackout box over what I captured, but I have the screenshot as the proof, and we'll go over that in a minute. What I've been waiting for the last several days is updated data on April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Now today, we have the data for April 5th, but 1, 2, 3, 4 days have not been reported. Now, the information for these 4 days is available on the LASCO C2, C3 SOHO website, but it's not what we want to see. Okay, those are the blue and the red coronagraphs that you see me use often. I haven't been using them because they've been scrubbing the data. They've been blocking things out for over a year now. So I do check them out, but we really don't see much of anything. Now, here on the SEEDS website, you'll see this data in a little bit of a different view. And this is mainly to look at coronal mass ejections and eruptions on the sun. So it kind of looks like a little staticky gray format. And you could see these detections a lot easier. But here we go. We have 4 days of missing data. And before, this website was spot on. Their data was up immediately. And now, all of a sudden, because we've made so many really, really critical discoveries here, I guess the boys in blue and the powers that be at NASA are once again getting sick of me. Well, that's just too damn bad. But anyways, what I wanted to show you here, we'll go ahead and click, and I have my screen blown up about 50% so you guys can see this. Okay, and this is what basically you'll see. You know what, let me go ahead and shrink this down so it looks in its normal format. So this is basically what you will see. Okay, you will see the normal C2 coronagraph right here, and the little white circle in the middle, that signifies the sun. The red circle, that is the internal occulter, as they call it, and that is inside of the camera. That blocks out the rays and the light of the sun, so the camera can get a clearer view of these discharges and coronal mass ejections from the sun. Okay, so on this version here, the occulter is completely black. So that's not the size of the sun. It would be the same size as this white circle. I don't know why they don't have a white circle in here. But when I was viewing this several days ago, I once again detected an object very close to the sun. I will show you the still photograph. Now, we're going to go ahead and pause this. And then we're going to go frame by frame, because this is where I have detected they changed something. And I detected this. I should have recorded this on a screen capture, but I didn't. I just took a still shot of what I found. So let's go frame by frame. Oh, I passed it up. Once again, I'm going to go ahead and blow this up so we can see a little more clearly. Let's get this up to about 50%. There you go. Look at that. Nice little gray box right over what I detected on the 25th of March, 2019. They covered it up. Let me show you exactly what I mean. Let's take a look over here. Well. I showed you guys this photograph the day that I captured it, March 25th, 2019. You can clearly see that object right there. You can see the stripes on it, And I guess that once again, I publicized this. Mark from the Blue Kool-Aid channel, he publicized this. And both of us work very closely together monitoring this SEEDS website. And we've both been doing it for quite a long time. So it just goes to show you, folks, for people that say, oh, that research, oh, what you do, oh, that's all nonsense, blah, 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 blah. Look, your comments are absolutely asinine. Many years ago, the resolution on the Solar Dynamics Observatory, as we refer to it, the SDO, was damn good. Now, just over the course of the last 2 years, they have been lowering the resolution on the SDO. So it's very hard to detect anything because of the resolution that they've lowered. And they're also scrubbing a lot of the information that, that I would find. That's a fact. And I have discovered so many things on the SDO, it probably made NASA's head spin. But getting back to this, this just goes to show you that, they don't want you to see this. Well, it's too late, folks. We've already detected it. We've already documented it. And a large number of you have already seen it. So I'm going to go ahead and collapse that. So here we go. They have put a little gray box over top of that. And let's go a few more screens. Next. Oh, now all of a sudden we have this big blackout. Now, I've seen this before whenever there are large coronal mass ejections and a lot of the particles hit the detectors on the spacecraft and they cause the camera to go a little crazy. I see it the majority of the time on the Stereo A spacecraft. You see a lot of static and, that's kind of normal. But during this situation, here, now, on the 25th, there wasn't any type of coronal mass ejection. There was nothing. Nothing at all. Some minor flaring, that was it. So, what the hell happened here? Now, all of a sudden, I would have been able to see that object coming out this way. I would have been able to see it maybe in at least 2 more frames, possibly even 3 more frames. Let's go 1 more frame. So now we don't have anything. Oops, I'm going the wrong way. Oh, now the screen on this side is completely white. Let's go 1 more screen. Now it's black. Yeah, now I'm really starting to wonder. Now it's white. And I'm going frame by frame. That's another frame, it's white. Another frame, it's black. And we're back to the beginning. Almost. You could see the frames here. 19 of 27. So now we have nothing. We're going back into it again. So they've actually blocked what we were looking at. And then we would have been able to see it. But they just started, censoring the information. And this is what they do, folks. This is what they do. This is one of the main reasons why I've been telling all of you to subscribe to our private Planet X News network, our private site. And it's actually starting to take off. We have 116 subscribers already. You're able to send me private messages right over here. And it's working out fantastic. I get so many messages every single day with people who have questions and I'm able to answer them a lot easier than going through all of this email, because our email, I got to tell you folks, I get about 400 or 500 emails every single day. It's very hard and time consuming for me to go through all of that. And a lot of times people are just wanting me to take a look at pictures. And, we're not going to photograph Planet X. We're not going to photograph this object from Earth. Okay, so everybody just get that through your heads now, that we're not going to photograph this object from the ground level here on Earth. It is literally impossible. If anybody is showing you photographs or telling you that they have photographs from their cell phone or even a high-powered 35mm camera, look, it's all BS. This object is more than 93 million miles away, and it's encapsulated the majority of the time within the sun's corona. It's not putting off its own light. You're not going to see it from Earth. The only way you're going to see it from Earth is if you had access to an observatory telescope with the right equipment and an astronomer who wasn't afraid to get his eyeball on the eyepiece and show you. And I'm sure that observatories around the world have heard about this, and they have peeped at it themselves. But there's no way in hell that you're going to have a certifiable astronomer at an observatory release this information to the world population. Okay? There's no way. So anyways, folks, the link to our private network, it's in the description box underneath all of our videos. When you have the time and you want to check it out, get over there, join our private membership. And I'm going to tell you some other reasons why it's a good thing to join up with us over here. Now, getting back to this, this is really pissing me off, because something has occurred within this 4 days. This is very, very unusual. I've never seen this before on this website. I've seen maybe one delay, one 24-hour delay with 1 day, but I've never seen 4 days now. And then we get to today, and there's pretty much nothing going on. So that's why this information was posted. But what happened to the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th of April? Well, where is it? What happened to it? Why aren't you showing it? So I hope that all of you can clearly see that they're censoring the information now. We have shown them once again the tools that we're using to make these detections. And it's going to become harder and harder and harder to make these finds. If Planet X was a figment of my imagination and the imagination of, millions of other people that look into this matter, then why all of the censoring? And talking about censoring, I haven't been able to do a live stream for about 2 weeks now. And YouTube came down on me pretty hard because I'm talking about weather and I'm talking about climate chaos. And I'm going into specific details about what is happening. They tried to hit me with this stupid community guideline strike. I appealed it and I won. But they have yet to restore my live stream capability. Yesterday morning, I contacted YouTube once again, and there's a feature where you can actually chat with what they call a YouTube creator representative. But I don't think it's a real representative. I think it's AI, and they kind of respond like that. And I've kind of tricked them a few times with some questions, you know, the way that I'm typing it in. And it's weird how they reply. But anyways, you know, I appealed that community guideline strike because there was no policy that I violated. I'm talking about the weather. And this goes back to a few weeks ago when that huge bomb Genesis cyclone, that winter cyclone, had formed in the center part of the United States and was making its way across to the East Coast, dumped all that snow, caused all those problems. And, you know, I did a live stream on it, talked about it. And the very next day, bingo, you know, they demonetized that video and they tried to give me that community guideline strike. And over the years, I've become very proficient at fighting them using their own rules and regulations within their policies. So within my appeal, I used their own words against them once again. And they determined, okay, well, you're right. But they have not given me back my live stream capability. Now, whenever you guys are watching my videos and the live chat comes up, I am using a pre-recorded video like I'm doing right now, but I'm using YouTube's Premiere feature. So when I use the Premiere feature, it is like I'm streaming live and the live chat comes up, you know, and I could have more time to interact with you folks by chatting with you and answering questions. And I see a lot of other YouTube channels now using that feature, and it may be because of the same reason. You know, they don't like you to use the word flood. Flood. You know, water levels rising, displacing people. And a few years ago, they put that word flood in their policy. Natural disasters. But yet, it's okay for mainstream media to have a YouTube channel and report on the same damn things that I'm reporting on, but we give you more detail. Maybe that's what they don't want. Maybe they don't want us giving you more detailed information instead of a 45-second little news brief. And over the course of the last month, I have mentioned that I'm going to be getting more and more and more into what is happening with our climate because it is very important. It's very important, folks. It's getting down to the point right now where things are getting very risky. Now, the live stream that I did, the premiere live stream that I did the other day, talking about the new climate report that just came out for the country of Canada. You know, listen, there's a few people that left some comments, and they're probably trolls, and they were putting down the information, and they're trying to skew your thoughts. And I told you guys before, be very careful who you are interacting with in the comment sections of any YouTube video. Don't ever give out your personal information. Don't ever give out your email addresses. Be very careful who you are interacting with because these demented individuals, they're psychotic. So if you want to leave a generalized comment, that's cool. If you want to tell me something, that's cool. But if you see these negative comments, just blow past them. Say what you have to say and let's move on. But I started hearing from all of these people in Canada once again. Whenever I did my report on the earthquakes in Red Deer, Canada, in Alberta, the province of Alberta, I had Canadians, wow, man, coming out of the woodwork and thanking me for bringing that to the attention of a lot of people, because the Canadians are worried about a lot of different things, including their own government, politics, immigration into their country, and now very severe climate chaos. So, after I did that report on the climate report that came out for Canada, and that report was supposedly leaked, and then the Canadian government had no choice but to release the information to the public. But they kind of did it, in a low profile status. It wasn't like they were going on the news on the CBC and putting out this big major statement. It actually didn't receive that much attention at all, and that's what they wanted. There are very, very severe things happening in Canada. People say, oh, it's freezing cold. Okay, yes, there are parts of Canada that will stay within their general climate. It'll stay cold. There are other parts of Canada that are going to heat up, and they're having and experiencing very, very odd weather for this time of year. The same thing is happening in Alaska. The other day, they recorded a 50-degree temperature, broke the records for that day, that time of month and year in Canada. I was sent a photograph by a scientist who was monitoring the permafrost melt in Alaska. And it's devastating. I'll pull the photograph up, in a bit, and I'll show it to you. It's actually going to cause a lot of damage to the land. And I'll show you why, and I'll show you how. So, folks, my point is, and I'm sorry for being so damn long-winded, but here you go once again. We have shown the powers that be are tools, which belong to them, but they're also public access. And our tax dollars paid to build those spacecraft and those space cameras and space telescopes, we're paying the salaries through our taxes, through the federal government, to NASA and a lot of universities that you see right up here. You see that? George Mason University, Space Weather Lab. So, if these universities don't get hundreds and hundreds of thousands of dollars, tens of millions of dollars from the federal government through grants and funding, well, they are SOL. And for all of you that don't know what that means, it means they're shit out of luck. So, either Soho and Lascaux, the coronagraphs, which are, that's all run by NASA, maybe they did not send over the information on the 1st, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. Maybe George Mason University didn't get it, which is unusual. But again, going back to the discovery that we made on the 25th and publicized it, you can see I went back to this because I was very suspicious. And lo and behold, the little gray box comes up, and now they blocked out what I already have documented. So for all the disbelievers out there, if there is nothing out there, then why do they censor the information? Why put up the little gray and black boxes? Why put up the little pixelized boxes that you see on the Lascaux C2 and C3 coronagraphs, the red one and the blue one? Why do you see it? Why do they do it? Why is there missing data within the timestamps? What happened? Did like somebody spill coffee on their keyboard and, oh, that data got deleted? Oh, man, who cares? No, folks, these are very sophisticated operations that are conducted by NASA every single day. The people that work there, they're not stupid. They're very highly educated people. Okay? They do what they are told to do. They're not stupid. Even though we like to poke a lot of fun at them, in reality, these are some of the smartest people in the world working for these space agencies. The same applies for the ESA, the European Space Agency. Okay? So if the government tells them, hey, you know what? That guy over there at Planet X News, he's under our skin again. He's finding things that you people should have scrubbed before it got to public access. So if you want more money from the government, George Mason University, you better start scrubbing that data. So that means that they literally have to have somebody like me watching 24 hours a day and going over every little bit of information, piece by piece, being very analytical, taking things in slow motion, frame by frame. It does consume a lot of my time. Hell, in the course of my day, I'm doing at least 12 to 14 hours a day, 7 days a week of computer work. Plus, I also maintain, the Planet X News website, our new private membership website, and a national and international news website, and the Facebook pages. So my day consists of, so much. But I do my homework. And this has really, really got me pissed off. Because I know deep in my heart now that something was visible, something was there, and they blocked it. April 1st, 2nd, 3rd, 4th, and now we have a little bit of data from the 5th. Now, I know that there will be the little troll operations out there that will make up some cockamamie story, blah, blah, blah. But the facts are the facts, folks. They're doing something here, and something was definitely visible here. There's no doubt in my mind. No doubt whatsoever. Back on the... Let me just get over here. Back on the... Why is my little wheel spinning like that? Back on the 20th. This was taken from the Cactus coronagraph. Here we go. Now we're moving. I haven't noticed too much of this censoring on Cactus. But I'm sure, who knows, somewhere down the line, it's probably going to come. And they're probably going to start censoring this information heavily also. I showed all of you this photograph on the 20th, and, in my last couple of live streams, I've reverted back to it. So many dangerous things are happening with our climate. And I'm very worried about it. I'm going to go ahead and back out of here for a second, and I'm going to jump over here real quick. Oops, wrong screen. I want to show you a few crazy pictures. Just came in. Blow this up a little bit. This is a collage of photographs, and this was just reported and sent in to me from northern Italy. Okay, 5 feet of snow in 48 hours. That's right. I said 5 feet. Now, all of this information is made available hourly on our private Planet X News site. Okay? If I sit here and I make videos about all of these occurrences, they're going to end up terminating my YouTube channel. I just know it. And too many people rely on it, even though it's heavily censored. But this is what I'm talking about with climate chaos. Crazy things are happening with our weather. 5 feet of snow in northern Italy in 48 hours. 5 feet. You know, we bitch and complain about 5 inches of snow. Ha! They got 5 feet. Now, let's jump out of here. And here we go. This was just in Sweden. And they, over a course of a short period of time, they got not 5 feet, 13 feet. 13. The unlucky number. 13. These photographs were sent in to me. Look at this poor guy. 13 feet. That's his house. That is the snow. 13 feet. However, there are going to be, let me just pull this up here real quick. There are going to be some differences in weather in different locations, different countries, even different parts of countries. And you may find in, the northern part of Norway or Sweden, big, heavy amounts of snow. And down towards the south, they may have very, very moderate temperatures. But what I saw in that climate report were projections for the very near future, meaning that they're going to have temperature increases. Yeah. Big temperature increases near the North Pole, near the northern top part of our northern hemisphere. Yeah. Temperatures in the North Pole are going to rise. And it's already happening. They're already talking about a 1.5 degrees Celsius increase in temperature. That's about 35 degrees Fahrenheit. Jump back over here real quick. So, there is absolutely no way that things can stay normal on this planet with those types of increases in temperature. There's no way. I'm going to jump over here to the jet stream model here. I'm going to move over to the temperatures. And we are going to see different parts of the world. And in these different parts of the world, they're going to have different extremes. Now, look. We're going to be going from some parts of the world are going to have very severe drought. Some parts of the world are going to have very, very severe heat. Some parts of the world may experience very severe bouts of cold, polar type cold. If these droughts occur in areas where our food production comes from, what do you think is going to happen, folks? Yeah, it's already starting to occur. We're going to see different areas of our planet that are going to have very severe problems with torrential downpours of rain that will produce flooding. Ooh, there's that word, flood, flood, flood. So during that situation where the ground is so saturated with inches, if not feet, of water, we just saw this play out in the center part of the United States in Nebraska. Just wiping out some of the farming industry, the cattle industry, and the pork industry. And for all of you that love pork chops, ribs, and bacon and sausage, look out. Prices are probably going to go up. Wheat, corn, grains. What's going to happen? I make fun of that new Congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. I'm not a big fan of hers, and I'm definitely not a fan of our Democratic Party here in the United States of America. I think the majority of them are evil in many, many ways. But something that this 29-year-old Congresswoman has been saying is we are going to be in serious trouble within 12 years dealing with the climate on this planet. And she's not the brightest person. But I'm starting to wonder, where did she get that information? Because, she makes a lot of mistakes and a lot of gaffes in her interviews and things of that nature. And people are making fun of her. And look, I do it too, because I think she's kind of comical at points. But I got to tell you, it's really, really starting to make me wonder who is feeding her this information. Because this young lady doesn't have any background in politics. She's already under investigation for campaign fraud on a couple of occasions already. She owes the state of New York over $1,200 in back taxes. She's surrounded by controversy with her campaign manager. She came out with this pretty much idiotic plan, the Green New Deal, which has sparked controversy all across the United States, and people around the world are making fun of it. But she keeps saying, in 12 years, we'll all be dead. Climate chaos. Climate change. She has absolutely no background in climatology, and she probably failed science in school. So, who is putting this information into her mouth? And where is she getting it? Now, all of a sudden, many, many countries around the world are scrambling and publicizing this climate change. Folks, you can't get on Facebook, Twitter, or the internet without seeing at least one or two articles related to climate change and how abruptly it has hit our planet. And then you'll have these people out there that say, oh, that's all nonsense. It's all nonsense. But the facts are the facts. There is so much that is happening on this planet right now dealing with our climate that we don't even know about. And now social media wants to put a clamp down on it, and they don't want me talking about it. They don't want other YouTube channels talking about it. They will censor your material. They will bury it deep in the doldrums of the YouTube dungeon. Why? That's the big question, folks. If it's all just damn make-believe, then why bury it? If it's just a fairy tale. Did you ever think about that? We have over 80,500 subscribers here on Planet X News. We should have millions. They will never, ever allow that. That's why I have moved to this private network. And for all of you that are serious about maintaining as much information as you can, real detailed information, then you will find a way to join up with our network one way or another. Because things are going to get worse. Each and every day, every tick of that clock, it's all working against us. And there's no way that man can change what is happening, ladies and gentlemen. There's no way. For all of you people that harp on harp, listen, as we say in Italian, forget about it. They can only do little things with harp. Yes, I know there are harp stations all over the world and blah, blah, blah. But folks, take a look at the size of the earth. Man can't change the earth. What is happening out there in our solar system, 93 million miles away from this beautiful planet that we live on, that is what is changing our planet. In combination with this treacherous solar minimum that is knocking on our back door, and we're already feeling the effects of it, and we're really not even in it yet. Our magnetic field is getting weaker and weaker and weaker. All of those heavily charged particles that come from the sun, where do you think they're going to go? Well, they race right towards the Earth. Now they're breaking through more and more and more. And the Earth is literally getting pounded. We've already seen the abrupt changes in our jet stream. Let's take a look at it. I've talked about it considerably over time. Here's your jet stream coming across the United States. Where the hell is it? It's all broken into pieces. Let's take a look at it from the top of the Earth. We have one, you're looking straight down. Here is the center. You have one pretty heavy band here, but the rest is all broken up into vortexes everywhere. One of the leading problems that's occurring up here in the North Pole, you're looking at it right here. This induction of warm air that's being ripped up through Greenland, up through this passage here between northern Canada and Greenland, and over here. we continue to see these patterns of warm air come right up through here into the North Pole. And it's heating up the North Pole. Folks, we need that ice on the top of this planet. It has to stay there. But it's not. It's gone. Most of it is gone. What can we do about that? As human beings, nothing. Not a damn thing. The albedo factor that I mentioned, the reflectivity of the ice up here, it's very, very low. Therefore, solar radiation that hits the ice does not reflect off anymore. It absorbs. The Earth is absorbing it. So, you don't have to be a rocket scientist to understand what happens when you absorb radiation. What happens to the human body when it absorbs radiation? You die. You die. We have some volcanoes that are going off all of a sudden. Popo down here in Mexico. I think they recorded like 200 eruptions in a short period of time. You want to talk about climate change, folks? Let this continue, and we're going to see massive volcanic eruptions around the world spewing more carbon dioxide into our atmosphere, which is going to create more problems. Climate change is not being caused by man. It is being caused by what is out there in space. What I have been researching now for almost 25 years. People call me all kinds of names, and they tell me that, what I'm a criminal and, I'm lying to people. No, you can walk outside and you can see it for yourself. I get messages, inbox messages, and emails from people all over the world that are concerned because now maybe they weren't a believer before a year ago or 2 years ago, but now they are literally waking up. So what this little Congresswoman, Ocasio-Cortez, is saying is that in 12 years, we're going to be done. And like I said, I criticize her. I make fun of her. I think she's pretty funny. But she is actually causing a lot of people to start to take a look at things. Why do you think that the United States government and all governments around the world, why do you think they have buried themselves underground with these underground cities and these underground bunkers? Underground train rails that go across the whole entire United States and all over the place. Why do you think they've been working on this for the last 30 years? Is because they knew that something like this was going to occur. What does that mean for me and you and our families? Well, no pun intended, but we're going to be left out in the cold. There's no room for all of us. Just them. The elite. I don't know if I'd want to be buried underground. Because with the addition of all of this solar radiation impacting our planet on a daily basis, it is going to heat the core of our planet up. It's kind of like being microwaved. And if any of you know how a microwave works, like when you put your food in it, have you ever noticed that, if you put something in the microwave just for a few minutes, maybe one of those macaroni and cheese dinners, and you take it out before the time is up, Well, the inside, the inner part, the center, is hot, but maybe the outside is still cold. Well, that's like the same thing that's happening to the Earth right now. The Earth's being microwaved by this solar radiation, which is going to increase. And as the solar minimum creeps in, our deflective shield, our magnetopause, will weaken, so more radiation gets in, heats up the core even more, and the core will start to expand. And what happens when you expand something in the center? Well, everything above it and outside of it within its shell, well, that's increased pressure. Here on Earth, the way that Mother Earth gets rid of that increased pressure is by releasing it in the form of what? Earthquakes, volcanoes. Ladies and gentlemen, if we ever start to see massive volcanic eruptions, I'm not just talking about a few little spurts here and there. I'm talking about full-blown volcanic eruptions, spewing volcanic ash 20, 30, 40, 50,000 feet into the atmosphere around the world. It's going to get caught in these wacky jet streams. And yeah, we're going to be in serious trouble. You've all seen the destruction that the earthquakes can entail. Loss of life, destruction of property, roads completely blown apart, buildings crumbling and falling to the ground, people inside of those buildings. It's no joke what we're dealing with now. There's no more playing games. There's no more debunking these theories. The way that I look at it, ladies and gentlemen, if you are out there, quote, debunking this material, you are surely the problem and the enemy. You can actually hold yourself responsible for the deaths of people that get stuck in these situations, whether they be floods, earthquakes, volcanic activity, climate chaos. You are the blame. So for you troll babies that think you're out there doing something noble, you people are complete idiots. Idiots. Morons. Yeah, I'll use those two words. Because you are preventing people from truly understanding what is happening. And maybe they're going to be listening to something that is going to educate themselves and save their lives or their families' lives. And you are hindering that by your stupid little videos and your stupid little comments. And you think that you are going to sway people that don't know a lot. You are part of the problem. What do you do whenever you find a nasty bug crawling on your kitchen floor like a cockroach? Do you just let it wander around? No. You squash it. You hear that crunch under your shoe. And that's what needs to be done to these whack jobs in these little trolling operations. I consider them cockroaches, and you need to squash them. So, ladies and gentlemen, when you see these wackos making these comments in the comment section, take your foot and squash the roach. Don't pay attention to what these people are saying. You know, I am very, very worried about the outcome of this spring and this summer in the Northern Hemisphere. I'm also very worried about what's going to possibly happen in the Southern Hemisphere. Here is the Southern Hemisphere. Here is the Antarctic. Look at the jet stream. Look at it. It's in complete disarray. The jet stream looks like it's on crack. It's taken a dose of methamphetamine. It's completely in disarray. We have so many issues already brewing down here. Let me go ahead and stop this real quick. We have so many issues brewing here in the Antarctic with massive, massive chunks of ice that are breaking off. One of them was said to be the size of the state of New York. Another one, a real long rectangular chunk, the size of Manhattan in New York. So what is happening in the Antarctic? Yeah. I bet a lot of you don't know that over the course of the last couple of years, do all of you know that green plant life is now growing in the Antarctic? Yeah. I was reading a report from a scientist who just came back from the Antarctic on a 6-month expedition. I gotta tell you, they were finding fossil remains of trees and plants that were clearly visible, meaning they didn't have to dig through tens of feet of ice and snow to get to these fossil remains of these ancient pieces of trees and plant life. Oh, why is that? Because it's melted. It was available on the surface. Yeah. Now, naturally, the main portions of the Antarctic, pretty much on the dead center here, will stay pretty well frozen solid. But what is happening around this region here, where I'm showing you, where this big cove is here and right along here, there are some very serious situations brewing with these massive chunks of ice breaking off. Something is occurring here, and I believe that it is happening from underneath, not above. Underneath. Something is occurring down here. Once again, massive, massive chunks of ice breaking off. That's all fresh water, and that is definitely going to be screwing up the salinity of the oceans here. The same thing that is applied here, up here in the Atlantic, and I talked about this the other day. Now you could sail a ship all the way across the top of the world and right out through this strait, this Bering Strait right here. Yeah. Shipping companies are saving a lot of money. We had a pretty big earthquake, magnitude 6.1, that occurred out here on the Aleutian Islands. Temperatures in Alaska, matter of fact, let's just take a look at it and see where we're at with temperatures in Alaska. Well, this is actually in real time, so I'd actually have to go back. Let's see if we could go back in time. Let's see how far back we could go. That's not going to let me go back, because I was going to show you guys the recorded temperatures in Alaska that were actually heating up, but I can't go back that far on this null school. But you could see the Arctic air has already shrunk back considerably, but we are still having these pushes of polar air coming down, and that's soon going to go away. And when this goes away, All of these states up here, Minnesota and once again, Nebraska, Illinois, Indiana, all of these states along this region, all the way down to the Mississippi, we're going to have some very, 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 very severe flooding issues. The same is going to apply all the way down the Ohio River. All of this section, Michigan, Wisconsin, we're going to have some very serious situations. The folks over here that live at the base of the Sierra Nevada mountains, both on the east and west coast, dealing with California, folks, let me tell you something. You better be watching your back, because we're going to be looking at landslides, mudslides, and hopefully they don't get any crazy rain systems coming in. But let me tell you, that is changing. Let me go ahead and just jump over here, and we'll look at some weather. And let's go and get out of here, and let's go to a dirty long wave window. We'll just take a look at some of this. Oops. Get into a full screen here. I can't get over all the way, which we will shortly. But you see this weather erupting out here in the Pacific. You see how it is pushing these fronts of weather straight into California. Okay, California is not used to these big waves of wet weather. I mean, for God's sakes, they were in a drought for years in parts of California. Maybe a lot of you don't know that a large portion of our fruits come from Central California. I believe they also grow, I think it's almonds. I mean, you know, the central part of California, right below that Oroville Dam, which is now leaking, all the repair work that they did. You know, these are big food sources here. Fruits and vegetables that come from Mexico. If Mexico continues to get hit with streams of severe weather, we are going to see shortages in food and higher costs in food. It's all coming, folks. It's just a matter of time. Let's go ahead and get another look at my shortwave window. Now that's not what I wanted. What I wanted to jump over here to the west is what I wanted to do. Oh, we got some of the little boxes. Okay, now they're moving out of there. So you see these huge vortexes. This is all being caused by the jet stream. And eventually, this is in real time. This is going to wrap around. And they're seeing extreme situations of wind and currents way up here into the cut of Alaska and northern Canada. But you can see how this is pushing this front straight into California. It is almost the entire size of the state of California. We see this steady band, all followed by the jet stream, being pulled straight over into Mexico. And eventually, folks, that's all going to get worse. That's all going to get worse just in a matter of time. I'm going to jump back over to the GOES 16. And we are going to move into this model. So this will actually show you some of the precipitation that's coming in. It's been kind of quiet down here in the south. They had a lot of really bad weather for the course of like 3 weeks. Those bad tornadoes. That has kind of settled down a little bit, but it's not going to last forever. It's going to start picking back up, and all hell is going to break loose. We had that huge nor'easter that was right off of the coast of the United States, the northeast here. Thank God the jet stream sucked it out, and it's right up here. Look at that monster. Look at the size of that thing. It's huge. I mean, could you only imagine being out there in one of them shipping vessels? Oh my God. And you guys have all seen those videos. What the hell was the name of that one show? They used to catch the crabs. They'd be out there in those 50, 60-foot seas in them big fishing vessels. Yeah, you wouldn't catch me on one of those. Hell no. Those guys have nerves of steel. But we got lucky right there. The eastern part of the United States, man, they got really, really lucky that monster up here, which was right down here, and it formed instantly. There was no early detection of it. One day. That's it. So I'm hoping that situations like this up here don't start forming out here in the Atlantic during this hurricane season, because if it does, with air currents, warm air currents coming off of Africa, holy hell, we will be in for one very, very active Atlantic hurricane season that is yet to be seen. I'm thinking more in the lines that our active hurricane season is going to be coming from the South Caribbean and up here into the Gulf of Mexico. And we don't have a lot of time with these hurricanes that form down here like we do when they form all the way across the Atlantic. We have time to track them as they come in. The computer models, the spaghetti models that they refer to, there's more data for those storms coming into the east coast of the United States. The problem with the storms that occur down here in the Pacific and the Gulf of Mexico is sometimes they have the ability to make landfall twice. So they can actually come in here, they can clip Cuba, they can clip the Yucatan Peninsula, and then they can come in and clip the United States or other parts of Mexico. But they usually get sucked right up in here. So that means everybody in Texas, Louisiana, Alabama, Missouri, Mississippi, Georgia, the Florida Panhandle, hey, you guys may be under the gun during this hurricane season more than once, more than twice. Let's hope not. But that is the way that things are looking. European weather? Listen, I keep track of it on a daily basis. It's not looking good. And there may be some very excessive heat waves that are going to be rolling through. Now, that's what I was talking about, folks, with this very severe climate change. There will be parts of the United States where things will be mild during the summer. And there will be parts of the United States that will probably have a very wet spring and summer. And there may be parts that are dry or moderate. But there are going to be parts of the United States that are going to undergo very severe heat. And the same is going to apply for some of the European countries, and I think also in the Mediterranean region. That's just what I'm seeing. But, you know, with these weather patterns, anything can change. I think we're also going to see very, very extreme heat in Mexico. And with that extreme heat, well, that destroys crops. That destroys fruit. And, you know, you just don't realize how much of our food comes from other countries, especially, you know, Central America and Mexico. I mean, do you think we grow bananas here in the United States? For all of you that like your fruits and your vegetables, You know, U.S. farmers have been taking a hit for decades. We may be looking down a double barrel this year, and Lord only knows what the winter time is going to look like for 2019, leading into 2020. So this climate chaos, this climate change is a real deal. It's not something to thumb your nose at. And it's definitely not something to, listen to if you have some retard out there that's trying to debunk it. Remember, those people are your enemies. Those people, maybe they want to see you dead. But when push comes to shove, we all know that those people will be the first ones crying like little babies. That's a fact. So folks, YouTube's probably going to come down on me hard once again for talking with all of you about weather. I don't care. But this just goes to show you that joining our private network is important. It's very important. I am developing some things right now where I can do longer videos and I can share those videos and these updates and my findings with each and every one of you privately. I don't have to worry about being censored because it's my own private information. And as long as you have access to the internet, whether it be on a cell phone or your home computer, you'll be able to access the information. But I'm not going to stand for social media giants controlling me. I'm just not going to have it. And you will probably see more and more of your favorite YouTubers and truthers moving away from these platforms. Most of them are going to be forced to. Do you want to take your chances with mainstream media as much as they lie? And they're so biased and they give you limited information? I'm sure the folks on the Weather Channel, which I watch every day for a couple of hours, I'm sure they want to say a lot more, but they can't. We can't even talk about chemtrails. Well, stratospheric aerosol injections, We can't talk about that on YouTube anymore. You can't use those words. They want you to believe that those are contrails, ice crystals formed coming out of a hot jet engine. The exhaust. Yeah. I dare any debunker to stand behind a jet engine full throttled. You go put your puny little head at the back of a jet engine and let the pilot hit it full throttle. You put your little pea brain right there in the back of that engine and you tell me how hot it is. Yeah. Debunk that. Now, those so-called chemtrail debunkers, oh my, they don't have anything to debunk anymore because the governments around the world, especially here in the United States, have all come out and said, oh, you know what? We have to start doing this geoengineering with the stratospheric aerosol injections. We think this may be a good idea to, spray all these lines across the sky. and, kind of bounce some of that solar radiation off back into space. Well, we're testing it now. No, you've been doing it for 30 years because you knew this was all going to happen. You're still out there trying to perfect that process. But what you're really doing is you're making more and more and more people look up and wonder why your sky is crisscrossed with all these lines. And you have these retarded debunkers that tell you, oh, well, that's nothing but airplane traffic. Oh, okay. Two big passenger jet airliners crisscrossing each other in the sky. Oh, yeah, that's no violation of FAA flight regulations and flight paths. Come on, man. Give me a break. Those people need to just give up, wake up and smell the coffee. If you don't, we're going to pour it on your head. Stop trying to cover up the truth, because the truth will always come out. That is a fact. But we can't have people like that disturbing the process of the truth coming out. Those people are your enemy. And don't be afraid to take one of them on. Because they're never going to have an answer. You could debate them. They're kind of shifty. But when it's all said and done, they don't have anything to back up what they say. But now, we're all living it. We see what is happening. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm not trying to fearmonger here, but it is going to get worse. And maybe this little congresswoman, Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, maybe she's a puppet. Maybe somebody's telling her what to say. Maybe it is an early warning sign. Just like the early warning signs that I've been trying to give each and every one of you over the years. We are truly now in the beginning stages of global catastrophes. For some people, where they live, they may not see anything. But for others, in different parts of the world, things are going to change drastically. Men, women, and children are going to lose their lives on a daily basis. If you care anything about that, then you yourself will stand up and voice your opinions. You will help other people open their eyes, become the awakened. We don't have a choice, folks. You either open up your mouth now, or just bury your head in the sand and wait for the end. I don't think any of us will live to see the utmost extremes of what's going to happen. But we're going to be right in the middle of it. We may not see the end of it, and we may not see the worst of it. But what we're seeing now is extremely dangerous. And these extremely dangerous situations can escalate at a very, very rapid pace. You know, folks, that's why I make those chemtrail jerseys. I've mentioned that before. I wear my chemtrail jerseys all over the place. I've literally sold, I don't even know how many of them, hundreds and hundreds of them on my Teespring t-shirt website. It's not a big money-making scheme. You know, I think I get like, I don't know, I think it's $1.39. Woo, I'm going to become a millionaire, man. I could dig me one of those fancy bunkers for that $1.39 per shirt. But it draws awareness. People ask me all the time, what is that? Hey, what's your shirt all about? Oh, is that what those lines in the sky are? You know, if you could afford the $25 for a shirt, wear it. Buy it and wear it. Wear it proudly. Banning the geoengineering, I think, is very important because they are spraying chemicals into our air, our atmosphere. And these chemicals, they're not like organic, you know, like they're healthy for you. The rate of respiratory problems around the world has been steadily increasing, and it sure as hell ain't due to pollution. It's due to what they're doing up there in the sky, because they don't have the answers to what is happening out there in our solar system. They think deflecting the sun and that solar radiation, they think that the chemtrailing helps that situation. Well, maybe it did a little bit. But when push comes to shove, the power of the sun is always going to be greater than what man can put forth. How about awareness? How about making the world populations aware of what is happening, and then the populations can make the proper adjustments to their daily life? Oh, wow. Boy, that's not hard to understand. Oh, what? We don't want to cause a worldwide panic? Well, what do you think people are going to do when they are faced with very severe climate change and very severe weather situations? They're going to panic. What do you think people are going to do when there are food shortages? They are going to panic. But yet, you dumbasses in the governments should have been doing this 25 years ago. You should have been educating your populations on what you guys knew was coming in and what the future was going to look like. But you didn't. You dirty, filthy, rotten politicians and leaders of all countries, you sat back and you padded your filthy, stinking pockets with money. Because you thought, oh, I'll be dead by the time this all occurs. Well, too bad, sucker. You're all still alive. And all that money that you have in the bank is not going to save your life. So maybe little Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez, maybe she's right about that one subject. But I actually think that she's on the wrong side of the fence. I hate politics. I can't stand politicians. They're all so damn fake. All they want to do is say what the people want to hear. And then when it comes down to brass tacks, they don't do shit. Ladies and gentlemen, there are reasons why the people of Mexico and Central America want to get out of their countries. Poverty, gangs, drugs. But what about the destruction that has already occurred there because of climate change, because of volcanic activity, because of earthquakes? I think they know what's about to happen. Maybe they think the United States is a better place to actually be. And the United States, well, I mean, we can't really handle the influx of millions or tens of millions of additional people. That's all that you hear on mainstream media is Trump threatening to shut the border down with Mexico, the influx of drugs. What are we going to do? I mean, we are truly living in some very, very dangerous times. And for all of you that you don't experience any of this, and you're sitting in your nice little yard in your little cottage with your little white picket fence and your nice green grass, if you think that this isn't going to come knocking on your door someday soon, you're sadly mistaken. The whole entire globe is going to be affected. You should start educating yourselves as much as possible. You should definitely start to make some preparations around your house with your property, educating your children, your teenagers, educating your spouse, your friends, your immediate family. You know how the military uses that term on a need-to-know basis? Well, guess what, folks? Your loved ones, they're in that loop of need-to-know basis. And if you're so scared to get out there and talk about these subject matters because your deranged friends or family members think that you're cuckoo, well, give it a shot. If they don't understand and they don't want to understand, then you have to leave them behind and save yourself. But trust me when I say, in a very short amount of time, those people that think you're cuckoo, their eyes are going to be wide open. And who are they going to be coming to for advice on what to do? They're going to be coming to you. Just wait for it. First thing you say, I told you so. Now, let's get down to business. You know, it's one of the main reasons why me and Dr. Albers wrote our books. We wrote those books for people to be able to read, to have a tangible object in their hand. Well, what's going to happen if the internet goes out? What happens if we have major power outages? There is no internet. There's no cell phones. Everything's, black. How are you going to educate people? That's why we wrote those books. We didn't make the books and write the books and put them together to be on the bestsellers list. I mean, for God's sakes, looking at our royalty, looking at our royalties the other day. Oh my God! On a $25 book, I think we made $1.79, and in some other countries, I think it was like 55 cents. So we're not out here looking to make a boatload of money, but we're trying to put tangible products in people's hands that they can actually use. So you have your uncle or a friend of yours that's a naysayer and they don't think that any of this is happening. Okay, well here, Uncle Bob, why don't you read this book while you sit your fat ass in your lazy boy chair drinking beer and getting fatter. Read this book. Maybe this will open your eyes a little bit. That's why we wrote the books. Books have survived for centuries. Those books were to educate people. That's the main reason why me and Dr. Albers decided to sit down and write the first book, and the second, all the way up to the 10th book. And we will put together another one. But they're all meant to help each and every one of you understand. Understand what is in that book. Understand what is happening to this planet that we live on. Why do you think there is such a big push to put bases on the moon, to put bases on Mars? I don't know about you folks, but look, I like driving my car. I like jumping on my Harley. Whoom! And I like feeling the thunder of that engine. I like the wind blowing through my hair. I can't do that on the moon, and I sure as hell can't do it on Mars. I like the Mother Earth. I don't want to be an astronaut. I don't want to go live on another planet. I want to stay right here. I'm going to live and die with the Earth. But maybe the elite think that, or maybe they know that the only way to carry on the human species is to jump to other planets, kind of like extraterrestrials. You never know. I'm not going to live to see any of that, I guess. I don't know. Maybe God will allow me to grow old to maybe 150 to 200 years old. Maybe he'll say, hey, your mouth is big enough that I think the world population needs to hear you for like 150 years. Oh, my God. Our backs are truly against the wall. And for all of you out there that are so damn soft-spoken, please start opening up your mouth. Start sharing some of this information on your Facebook pages. Don't worry about what other people think. Who cares if somebody calls you, oh, are you one of those conspiracy theorists? No, jerk off, I'm a conspiracy realist. That's another shirt that I made. That's who we really are. We're realists. We understand what is really and truly happening. We can't stop it, but we can educate ourselves and live with it. And it is our responsibility to bring others to light. That's a fact. Be one of those people. You'll feel good about yourself. Trust me. That's how I am able to lay my head down every single day and feel good about what I do. Because I know there are some people out there that don't like me, that don't like my personality, that think that I am arrogant, but don't misconstrue arrogance for confidence. This is Scott from Planet X News. Thank you for watching. Be safe out there, folks. And remember, keep an eye in the sky.